KBOOM 108, where we're right and they are wrong. My name is David. That is Mike. It's the Mike and David Show, and we've been talking about a lot of things on the air that make sense for Stillwaterians, for Americans, for people that are world citizens. And you during the break, you had mentioned a couple things that you wanted to talk about.
Well, we were talking about immigration flag burning. We talk about it all the time on this station, and there was a couple of points that I had. One, air travel is so dangerous these days, and that's not our fault. That's the fault of these nuts, these psychos who have decided to use one of the most modern conveniences of the Western world, and they've gone ahead and tainted it, because now it becomes, what's going to happen here? Anytime you see a guy on the plane who looks like he doesn't belong there, and believe me, they're there more often every day.
I feel dirty when I'm on planes.
Well, you have to fly for 4 hours just thinking the whole time, how am I going to do in a fight with this guy? I mean, if I got to tackle this guy, what's going to happen? And that's good. You should remain on point at all times. Mm-hmm. I thought of a way to kind of get, because they use the shoes. You remember the shoe bomber guy, and then there's other people who are...
You've actually brought your shoe out as an illustration.
I put it up on the console here. Yeah. I'm just stretching, getting a little limber. But they, the shoe bomber guy, they smuggle contraband, and now we all have to take off our shoes now, and that just adds to your travel time. People got to take off their shoes, put it on the belt. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, depending on what city you're in. You know what it's led me to do? I finally got that athlete's foot cleared up. Oh, yeah?
And I'm spraying the inside of my shoes now, because I don't want to be embarrassed.
Sure.
When that, cop at the airport wants to inspect my shoes and gives me that look. That look of, you're not carrying a bomb, but hey, your shoes smell. Yeah, you've seen that look.
There may be a germ agent in there, is what he's thinking. Sure.
Exactly.
Well, I say, and here's my way to get around it. You don't have to take off your shoes and put them on the belt anymore. You don't have to do any of this. I say when you check in at the counter, mm-hmm. and you check in for your flight, either electronically or otherwise, you have to exchange your shoes with a pair of rental shoes from the airline, and you travel exclusively in rental shoes.
So it's like you give them your bags and you give them your shoes.
Yes, your bags, your shoes go forward as baggage. They are delivered to your destination, and you wear maybe a nice comfortable loafer, perhaps a mule if you're a lady. You can actually select. They're not just going to saddle you with something ugly.
So government loafers and government mules?
Something comfortable for your flight, absolutely. And you go ahead and out with these men and women of the skies with these, and then you don't have to worry. You don't have to sit there in the plane going, wow, I'm enjoying this this edited film. I certainly hope no one spoils it by pulling out a linoleum knife. You know what I mean? You don't want that to happen. So now that's not going to happen because your shoes are safely tucked away.
Right. And boy, man, when you get that V gouged out of your neck with a linoleum knife.
Awful.
Oh, it's hard to heal and it leaves a scar.
I was in middle school and they were having some fun. A couple of guys, Tony and Jeff, and one zigged when he should have zagged, and the other one wound up an X-Acto knife in his side.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that was a bad day at the bus
stop.
Although
that's a clean cut. An X-Acto knife, that's a clean cut.
Sure, but still a bad day at the bus stop when you're 12.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting that we can talk about these things. It's interesting because we live in a time when the government is cracking down on everything. And in some cases, I applaud that.
Right.
The violent video games.
But not immigration. They don't crack
down on that. Of course not.
I have a solution. Here's something else. When people come from other countries and they want to populate our country, and that's fine. If you're a legal immigrant, more power to you. Come here.
What is this, like the Mike mop-up session?
Listen, I have these ideas. I want to get them out. To me, they're important. This one is also important, and I just think it's an innovation whose time has come. You know how people come from the other countries and they want to wear their costumes in our country?
Yeah, I don't get that.
They want to wear their
veils,
turban, and their big fur robe or whatever the hell they wear in other countries. Yeah. Here's my idea. You can wear whatever costume you want. Go ahead. If it means it to you, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it has to be red, white, and blue stars and stripes. It has to look like an American flag. So you want to wear a burqa, you want to wear a veil on your face, a turban on your head, that's fine. But it's going to have America written all over it.
So what you're attempting to do, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what you're attempting to do is actually reverse the typical designation for someone's race. You're not looking for someone to be an Asian American, an African American, a Mexican American, a Norwegian American. You're looking for the word America to come first.
Absolutely.
You want an American African.
And this does not preclude
You want an American Mexican. You want an American Norwegian.
Again, does not preclude
an American Canadian
from being proud of where they're from, or being true to their faith, or whatever the hell they call it in these countries. I don't know what they call it.
Yes.
Their duty, their
ideology.
Their whatever. So they can go ahead and do that, but at the same time showing the colors of the great country that allows them to do that.
I think this is going to lessen the confusion when one needs to wade face first into a group of these ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah.
You can use that straight away to determine which one of them you're going to go after.
Yeah.
Say you're nutty and there's some rally. And, you agree with us here on the Mike and David show about illegal immigration. Mm-hmm. And you want to do something about it. You've got one of the 100 guns that you have in your place and you want to take some of these people out. I'm all behind you. But wouldn't it be great if you really could tell who the good guys were?
Yeah.
Illegal immigrant or not. If they were willing to come here and wear our colors. I mean, there's no way that a terrorist would want to wear our colors.
No, they can't be all bad.
They would be defiled.
Yeah.
They'd be horrified.
Yeah. It would be like acid on their skin. And you called this Mike's Mop-Up Hour. These are good ideas.
Oh, they are good ideas.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're on board.
I just, I have the producer sheet in front of me. We're going to talk about FCC censorship. We're going to talk about censorship in general.
I feel strongly about things sometimes.
I understand, and I don't think. Look, I'm glad you brought them up.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that we live in a society where you can pretty much say what you want to say within reason and according to what the government thinks is best for us.
Right.
I think that's a brilliant thing to live in a society like that.
Sure.
Where you are free to do whatever you wanted to do as long as somebody in our government approves of it.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, who else has that kind of freedom?
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at some of the proposed rules that the government's going to have for television, for radio, and so on. And this provision about Sundays being all churchified, no more hardcore gangsta thug movies on cable channels on Sundays. None of that stuff. All day, 24/7 on Sunday, nothing but religion.
Yeah.
Nothing but, and I'm not talking about religion like, the temptation of Christ or any of that stuff, that quasi junk.
Right.
I'm talking about hitting your knees and thanking God that you live in a country like we live.
Yeah.
And doing so for a good long time.
Give me that old time religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure it's broadcast to me in what I would consider a favorable light. Don't give me your snarky, sarcastic, well, hey, this might be true or might not be true according to your faith. No, it is true. It is Sunday. And on the seventh day, he rested and he thought about what he'd done.
Right.
And you need to get in line with that.
That's right. Now, the cable channels have pushed back. Gee, go figure. And there's been some interesting things posed as solutions. One of them is to take all of these R-rated and NC-17 rated shows that aired in theaters and corrupted our youth, that were showed in theaters and corrupted our youth, and reenact them. But not changing the storyline. Changing the actors to puppets. Can you imagine some of history's best action flicks with puppets in the roles of the actors? It would remove all of this stigma of, action movies make little Johnny go out and blow somebody away with a tombstone. They see a car chase, they want to go down to Novin and steal back a car and go for a joyride. Right? None of that anymore because puppets are doing it. You don't see puppets inciting riots.
I love this idea.
You don't see these cute little puppets telling our youth to go kill people.
You know what I love about it? I love the fact that it brings families together.
Yes, absolutely.
Finally, I could enjoy a Nick McGee film.
Uh-huh.
I could watch Rear Naked Choke with my kids.
Right.
And they're going to enjoy it on their level, and I'm going to enjoy it on my level.
That's exactly right.
I think it's fantastic.
It is the bridge between generations.
I don't often agree with cable companies and big media corporations, and
I'm not so sure that a cable company came up with this idea.
I thought you said there was pushback from them on this.
There was pushback, but then the government said this is what we're going to do.
This makes sense.
Right.
It would have to be the government to come up with this idea because it makes so much sense.
Right. And on top of this, the actual actors and puppeteers involved would be government workers.
Oh.
So we could crank out, a movie a year based on just throwing that kind of resource at it.
So you could have a DOE.
A DOE, Department of
Entertainment.
That's amazing. That's an interesting thing.
Or a DOCP.
Which is?
Departments of Casting and Puppets.
Nice. Yeah, I think the Justice Department would go for that.
Sure.
And I think that the cable companies would be on board with it as well.
Boy, again...
It's a reasonable, you want to reach a compromise. This is a reasonable compromise.
Bringing families together.
In the end, that's the goal.
It's all about the family.
In the end, it's about bringing families together,
protecting them from all these outside influences that try to destroy the family, instead turning those very same influences into family strengthening items.
And making sure that they are well aware that the government is who they should look to for their advice on what to watch, for protecting their children. I don't think we can make a stronger argument based on the government that we have now that what we do, protecting our kids, is the highest priority. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. We have to protect the children.
Right. The children are our future.
We need to teach them well.
We do. We need to do that, and we need to do that on such a way that it has to be palatable. And that's what I think the puppets do. The puppets take care of that palatability.
Well, then you're educating children, and they don't even know it. It's almost like chocolate-flavored broccoli. It's good for them.
Have you tried that?
They don't know it. The chocolate-flavored broccoli?
Yeah.
I haven't had it. I had the vanilla cauliflower. It wasn't bad.
Gotcha. I was looking around on the internet for a site that I could just refer to from time to time that has examples of the worst of television, the worst of radio, the worst of movies. I mean, the hardcore killing, the blood and the guts and the screwing and the beating of whores and the running over of policemen and the horrendous, the being in a room naked with a bunch of women who just want to do nothing but ravage your body,
Sure.
I mean, we've all been there.
The gays with their furtive glances and their nodding.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that. I forgot. But I sit there and I look at this and I think, wouldn't it be great if there was a site that could protect us by showing us these things using internet video streaming techniques?
Almost like an online glossary.
Sure. A reference.
I see.
Yeah.
Like a reference library of filth.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And have it staffed by, somebody who has been around this sort of thing for years and years and years and knows how to pick and choose exactly what goes on this site. And then the inverse of all that stuff, all that's left, is what you show on television. Everything else is protected with some sort of a special chip in the television sets.
Okay.
And on the radio. I mean, I truly believe that if we utilize technology to protect ourselves from ourselves, we are doing ourselves a tremendous favor.
What if technology is not for that? What's it for? Technology should be to protect us from people bastardizing technology.
And it should also be used to find those things that are just horrifying to watch.
Absolutely.
Overtly sexual, angrily violent.
The gays.
Yes, with their furtive glances and their nodding heads. I don't, there's something about that whole situation when you're being judged by a gay person that just, it just drives me crazy.
Yeah, who are they to judge anybody?
Don't get me started.
Gay physician, heal thyself.
KBOOM 108, where we're right and they are wrong. We're talking about censorship. We're talking about being able to live in society without being inundated with the filth and the smut.
And the gays.
Before we go to the break, I just want to make sure I've covered every possible thing that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, you don't want me coming back with another mop-up with Mike session?
Here's the thing. I just figure that if you have this opportunity, now's the time to do it, because I think we have the listeners by the throat.
Okay.
I think they are hanging on every word we have to say. Yeah, they may be doing other things while they're doing it, driving, shooting, loving, talking, who knows what they're doing, but they have us along for the ride. Mm-hmm. And as long as we're a part of their lives, and as long as I'm a part of your life, Mike, I want to make sure that you are given your due. Should we just take a break, or is there anything else?
How about we talk about the blood oath that we force these people to take when they come into this country?
The blood oath?
The blood oath.
Oh, I remember this. This was an idea you had when we were talking about the immigration thing.
Yeah.
But it was off the air. You see, I tell you this while we're playing the news, while we're doing the commercials and so on. I tell you, just write it down and say it on the air. That's so much more effective.
Yeah.
And again, you get a larger audience than just me.
This is another idea. And we make these people come to the country, and you cut the palm of anybody who comes to this country.
Like when they just walk in, they run their hand across some table saw and boom.
Not a table saw. No, come on. We have to have a medical professional involved in this.
Oh.
It would be a scalpel, maybe an X-Acto knife, which we talked about earlier.
Sure, it makes a clean cut.
You cut a palm and you bleed this person, and you bleed them into like a petri dish. And
how much blood?
That's when they're reciting the citizenship oath.
Oh,
so it's combined.
So that makes it a blood oath.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then they can go and assimilate into our country. If they do anything wrong, because we'll have the chip implanted, we'll be able to follow them around and figure out
the shock collar.
We have the blood.
Yeah.
The second we get the blood, it's whisked off to government laboratories. We are cloning these people. They act up, they do something wrong. They're replaced by their clone who won't ask questions, who we actually turn into a productive member of society. So we are cloning immigrants as they come, but only to be used if the immigrant doesn't do exactly what we expected him to do or what he's supposed to do.
Huh.
So essentially that's the risk you're taking. That's the bet you're making by coming into our country. You're telling us you're going to be a productive member of our country.
Right. And if not...
And by your tax returns and everything like that, if you're not making a certain amount, if you're not living up to what we thought you were...
Right.
Out. Clone.
Out.
Clone it up.
Interesting. All right, we're going to take a break. You're listening to KBOOM 108. It's the Mike and David Show, where we're right and they are wrong. Stay right where you are.